Hi, I'm Rasheena Willson, and today I'm with Justin Kalis, and he will be sharing with us today some exciting news about Unifi-Mobile. So, Justin, if you'd like to go ahead and tell us a little bit about your company and let us know what Unifi-Mobile is and what you guys are doing.
Unifi-Mobile is basically going to take the app industry and smartphone apps to a level that we've never seen before. So basically, what we're doing is imagine for a moment that you're talking about how mothers who stay at home, work from home moms, unemployed, people who are having a hard time finding a job, could look for an opportunity where they could engage their thoughts, which is more often criticism. People will criticize something new when they see it, and turn that into an income opportunity. And what I mean by that is essentially that when we launch our first app called FlipKey, and others go out there to download it and install it, they'll say, this is really great, but it has this one thing I just don't like. Well, it's that moment that a person can take that idea to make FlipKey better and publish it out on their Connect portal on unifimobile.com. And others out there who are looking at the website, looking at the content in our social network, can say, hey, yeah, I like that idea, because this is the same thing I don't like about FlipKey. But in the context of just apps in general, any app could have criticism coming from its user base, and essentially Unifi-Mobile is going to be that company that says, hey, we'll take your ideas, and if you earn 100,000 upvotes on your ideas, we'll pay you royalties for those ideas once we create it, build it, and market it. Now, the coolest thing about Unifi-Mobile in that context is that people don't need money to make money. So when you think about all the different ways you can make money on planet Earth, what's the one thing that stops you every time? Well, I gotta have money to make money. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove that constraint. We're just trying to keep it really simple. And the people that engage with us on that level don't need to know anything about apps. They don't need to know anything about the industry. All they need to do is just look at what's on the digital canvas and basically suggest something to make it better. So we call that customer-driven design, or you might call it customer influence design. But in all practical purposes, the reason we're doing that is because we don't want to take the risk of building something the customers don't want. And a lot of companies struggle with that today. I mean, they hire their brainiacs within their organizations to decide what the world is going to get from XYZ company, and it's really a crapshoot. And that gamble is not something that is taken lightly in the industry, because if they are wrong, then they will have put all these millions of dollars into developing something that the customers just won't love. Now, I mean, that's basically what we're trying to do. But some of the other things that we're trying to do with the company are like in ways of collaboration, because we look at every opportunity coming out of that as an opportunity for us to collaborate with other companies, in the sense of, for example, there's 1 million SMS apps out on the market right now. So we don't need 1 million SMS apps. And quite frankly, no one's going to look through Google Play or Amazon or any other app publishing website, all 1 million of them, and decide which one they're going to get. Typically, most people will just look at the top 100, if that, and that's pretty extreme. So what we're suggesting is that there's this huge developer base throughout the world, and for the most part, all of them have been working feverishly to build an app that the world would love, that might go viral. But most of them are doing it for free. And the only ones that are making money on that endeavor are Google, Amazon, or any of the app publishing companies out there. For they leverage the power of marketing and ads through the apps. And that kind of brings us to the next point, and that is that in order for Unifi-Mobile to create this opportunity for everyone, we have to abandon free, and we have to promote paid in the app marketplace. And the reason we have to do that is because free apps don't deliver, and they are, truly unsustainable. The developers can't survive, and we're not going to be able to enjoy those developers staying in the market for very long if we don't do something to fix this problem. So we recognize that there's 1 million plus or more developers out there. I mean, XDA Developers has 5.4 million members. How many of those are developers? We have no idea. We don't know how many are there. But we do know that there's freelance markets, we do know that there's micro job markets, we know there's tons of developers out there that are trying to make that next killer app. And our model will help all these developers throughout the world come and join Unifi-Mobile and build these features that our customers are suggesting into SMS apps or keyboard apps or any other apps for that matter. And as a result of doing so, they'll be able to take this career that they've done and where they're not making money and now become profitable and start making money. Because what our model is going to do is we're going to pay developers for the work that they do. So now they'll go from a free activity to a paid activity. And then furthermore, the customer who suggested the idea that the developer's building is going to make royalties, but the developer is also going to make royalties. So we're gonna put the starving developers, similar to the starving artists of the world, into a position where they now get paid to develop, and they get royalties, for the app sales. Now, how we do that is Connect Portal basically has an upvote widget in the portal. So, we essentially look at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, some of the other popular websites, Instagram, and you scroll through an endless sea of posts. So imagine Connect Portal being just an endless sea of ideas. And people are, who are work-at-home mothers or who are unemployed or who are, looking for a supplemental income to sustain their families, will be able to engage in this, and if they earn 100,000 votes, and these votes are qualified and it's a required point of traction because we can't just develop everything like a crapshoot on everyone's idea, so we have to basically take some degree of levity and say, hey, look, we need 100,000 votes. And if you get that 100,000 votes, then we will develop that app, and you'll get to set the pricing on it, and you can adjust that pricing according to how it responds in the market. And those people who have voted are going to be able to say, I would buy this app if it were on the market. So essentially, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Well, that sounds very exciting. Sounds like you guys are making a new model for the app industry for everyone, as far as the customer and the developer to both make money. My next question for you would be, how is it that the customer can suggest ideas for other applications? How do you guys handle that?
So basically, it works the same way. I mean, we have a split model. We have it to where, we publish an app like FlipKey. This is our first app. It's supposed to be done in a few months. So in essence, a user can take any app. So it could be WhatsApp, which I think right now has over 1.1 billion downloads. And so they can take that, and we can build, once we obtain the licensing, the appropriate licensing and source code from the company, we can build add-ons. And in fact, that brings up a good point, because we're not a competitive company. There's nothing that Unifi-Mobile's doing that's going to be competitive or a threat to the industry. In fact, it'll be quite the opposite. We are going to usher in a new form of business thinking that's going to replace competitive thinking with collaborative thinking, in the sense of our example right now, like WhatsApp. So WhatsApp, for example, is the maker of the app. They own the license for and the source code for the app. But we'll reach out to them and we'll say, hey, we've got 100,000 users here that want this feature of the next. I'm recording. You're not in the video. You got to do this right. You're recording. So anyway, so basically, we're taking that and we're saying, okay, we're going to take your idea and we're going to build this add-on for WhatsApp. And WhatsApp is going to say, okay, here, we'll give you the source code, and there's going to be a cost associated with that, and there'll be a cost for development of the idea. And they can publish their idea. But now, a person like you could, for example, say, I like this, and so I would like to create an app, just an entire app, an app that maybe doesn't exist. So that's great. You want to do a whole app, so you suggest the whole app. Now, the process, how it works is we've got our guys that come out, and so Ed is our design guy, and he's got others that work with him, and he'll develop what they call a video storyboard. So it's going to show, work with the user who has earned 100,000 upvotes. He's gonna work with them in designing the UI, UX experience. Now, what that really is just the user interface, user experience. And that essentially is your idea on the digital canvas in the form of text. It doesn't speak to anyone. It doesn't show them anything. So what Ed and his group will do is they'll develop a video that once you have earned 100,000 upvotes can be published to the website, and then people can see it. That helps you gain traction and helps others continue to vote beyond 100,000 votes. Now, if you don't receive 100,000 votes, then we have a way that if you feel like, you know what, I disagree. I think my app is like the next killer app. So if you feel that strongly, we'll give you credit for, like, say, for example, you reach 90,000 votes. You don't quite get to that 100,000 mark. Well, then we'll say, okay, I tell you what, we're gonna give you a quote, and we're gonna say, okay, we'll break it down into payments, and you'll be able to go out to our portal under development, and you'll be able to select, according to how many votes you've got, a payment plan to develop the app anyway. So then once that app is complete, then you're gonna be able to take that app, set the pricing for it, and then in that particular scenario, what we have is we have a situation where we split the earnings on that. So Google gets, or all app publishers get 30%. So let's say hypothetically the app is $1.99. So Google or any app publisher will get 30% of that. The rest of it goes to Unifi-Mobile and you, okay? And a small part of that goes to the developer. So, because we're gonna pay the developer to make the app, and then he's gonna get royalties on it. You're gonna get royalties for your idea, and we're gonna get royalties to cover our expenses and the build and development of it, plus a profit to continue to keep this momentum going forward so that all have an opportunity. So that's kind of how that works.
Well, it sounds like you guys have it all together, that's for sure. I guess I know that you had discussed with me earlier that with the royalties that those get sent out to you once a month, and that you can continue to earn those royalties the more that people download the application. In the event that you decide to make more than one application, are you going to put a limit on how many people or how many ideas a person can post on their profile, or?
No, what we do is, basically you could come out with ideas, so we're trying to, you think of it like this. So you have an app idea, or you have an idea to make an existing app better. So you essentially could put your idea out there, and then 5 minutes later have another idea. So you could essentially put 20 or 30 ideas out there for the same app, or you could find 20 other apps and put 20 other ideas out there. Now the reason that this is so powerful and the potential is virtually unlimited is because on our Connect portal, when you create your profile, you'll have all of the ability to track analytics on the performance of your voting for your ideas. You'll have dashboards and widgets that will allow you to track your earnings, and every month, once the app app development cycle has been completed and it's been vetted and beta tested and we release to the market, you'll essentially get paid every month as revenue comes in. So now let me explain that a little. So we don't know, we can't predict with certainty how good an app is going to do from sales performance perspective. So we know that we got 100,000 people, but they could continue to keep upvoting it. So by the time the app's developed, you may have achieved 500,000 people that have voted on that idea. Now, the criteria for upvoting that we're asking our members on Connect, we're saying, do not upvote. Do not say yes, you like that idea unless you would buy it. So that's a little different than just saying I like, because everybody's accustomed to Facebook like, LinkedIn like, Instagram like. We don't want just likes. What we want is the vote to be meaningful, and it's very important that people are honest in that they're truly genuine when they click yes, we want that, to the degree that we know we're building something that the customer will buy, because the whole point of removing the risk and the guesswork with manufacturing and developing something is to get the user to the point where they are like, wow, a company that's going to build something for me. Now, when we have a user who has their awarded finished product in the form of an add-on or an app, that becomes a white label in the sense that it's Unifi-Mobile. For example, if it were FlipKey, it would be Unifi-Mobile FlipKey Rasheena Willson edition. So now, not only are you getting the notoriety and fame for what you've done, but it's no different than buying a Ford Expedition and having an Eddie Bauer edition, right? So in that sense, you're getting more than just the royalty from the app. You're getting a certain amount of recognition for your talents and your thinking. And we call that a thought worker, because essentially that's a new kind of worker that really has no choice. It has to emerge. Our market, commercially speaking, our economy is getting so bad that even the middle class are now feeling a major crunch with the rising cost of inflation and the cost of living, and the quality of life is going down at the same rate. So we really feel that this is something that has to happen, and we feel it's the right place, right time, whereas when we get into actually executing on it, we're going to see a lot of excitement and success behind it. So.
Oh, Justin, I've never heard of a company ever rewarding their customers in such a way as what you've proposed. Why is it that you decided to go with that route?
Well, you know that Google, Microsoft, pretty much any company out there has a little section that's in super, super fine print that says if you share any idea or suggestion, it becomes their property. Now, even more than that, anybody who ever becomes an employee within those organizations is, pretty much compelled to sign something to the effect that if you come up with any ideas or anything while working here, it becomes our property. We just don't think that should continue anymore. We want to change that trend, and it's really driven on the economy. Our economy is not in good shape, and we are in really desperate need for a new revenue opportunity for just the 99%. So we've got 1% of all the world holding all the wealth, and no matter what happens economically speaking, that 1% always does well. But we've got that 99%, and the 99% is struggling, and they continue to struggle as a result of the free market forces working against them each and every day. So we know that the best example of working smarter, not harder, is recurring revenue. Now, we also know that, if you write a book, you're writing that book once, and you make revenue on it over and over and over again. If you write a song, and you get it published, you sell that, and you make money over and over and over again. Or you write a piece of software, and you do all these activities only once. So, compare that to going to work every day. Every single day, you have a little ritual or routine that everybody must go through. They get out to their car, they hit the highway, and they got to sludge through, rush hour traffic, got to get to their job. So, an average person going to work, who's a non-telecommuter, is spending, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day just making a daily living. Well, they can continue to make that daily living with our model, but they need a way to supplement the deficiency of what inflation brings to each and every household. Now, it's so subtle. Inflation is very subtle. It's not something that many people even pay attention to. The average consumer, you can ask them how much you pay for income tax. I don't know. They don't know. It's amazing if you just ask people, simple questions that everybody should just be able to rattle off. How much is your cell phone bill? How much is your electric bill? They'll be like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's unbelievable. So this is, kind of contributes to the problem, because we want to see to everyone living the most supernatural life they can. If we can do something together, collaboratively speaking, then it would be along the lines of what we're doing. Now, when we talked about how we were going to execute this from a business model perspective, operationally, we could only find one model in existence that would, sort of align with what we're trying to do. And that was what they call a crowdsource model. Now, people often confuse crowdsourcing with, crowdfunding. But crowdsourcing is different. Crowdsourcing is more of a customer-owned organization. And what's the fundamental purpose of a company? The fundamental purpose of a company is essentially to benefit all parties. So we've decided that, the best way to be profitable as a company is to get our design direction from the customer. The customer should tell us what they want us to build, and we should build it. It just makes perfect sense. Now, I'm not saying this is, I don't want anybody to say, oh, that's ingenious, that's intelligent, because it's really not that complicated. It's as simple as taking something that you see in the world, reversing it, turning it right side up if you see it as upside down. Monetize it and have it, work for you. So that's kind of what drove our our philosophy towards this model. And we really do want to see the world a better place. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you could drive down the street and see better neighborhoods? Everybody's yard was cut, because everybody's got money now to hire someone to do the landscaping and whatnot instead of struggling, should make ends meet and pay the bills. So essentially, we're trying to help everyone. And we're very genuine in that. We would, and we've been building this for 4 years. We've funded this through people who have believed in it and see it's viable because of the many different ways that we have positioned it to make money. And it's incredibly sophisticated, but we're not trying to make the customer-facing side of that complicated. We've got a video, in fact, out on YouTube where they can go out and they can see we've minimized it down to 10 easy steps. I mean, these are steps anyone can follow. So I don't care if you're unemployed, if you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you're a stay-at-home wife, it does not matter. But all these people that are out there working each and every day could have spouses or moms out there capitalizing on the opportunity that we're delivering to the world, so that people can start living more amazing lives and start living the American dream. And I don't want to say it's just restricted to America, because anyone in the world can engage and make this their opportunity. And I don't know if you know it or not, but Google, years back, gave away millions and millions, hundreds of millions of phones to people in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they set them up with wireless or charging stations and wireless towers, and they were able to have a cell phone when many of them didn't even have a place to live. Well, I find that interesting because we can use that we can use that reality and say, hey, now we're a company that's gonna reward customers for their ideas, and whether they come from a positive mindset or a negative mindset, both make money. And they'll be able to take that, and then they'll be able to post their ideas, and they can earn that traction of the upvote. But the smartphones they have, even if they don't have a place to live, and soon draw royalty checks to take care of their entire families and build houses, and we can put a major dent in poverty.
Well, that sounds like one of the best business strategies and plans for the 99% that I had ever heard. A lot of the businesses, like you had stated, are wealth stays with wealth. So it's good to hear that you are creating a business that is actually opening doors for those who are without.
Yeah.
The next question would be, what was it, the monetization?
Yeah. You said something earlier. You said something to me. You said something to me earlier about your monetization strategy and how it's going to be drastically different.
Okay.
Tell me about that.
Well, you had mentioned to me earlier, Justin, something regarding your monetization strategy regarding the applications. And I guess I'm just curious, how is it going to be different than all of the other strategies that are currently?
Well, so for one, when you think about how you fund a company like this, if there was an investor listening to this conversation, they'd probably be, shooting it full of holes, because they would be trying to align what Unifi-Mobile is doing against what the rest of the world is doing. And we are trying to be disruptive in a collaborative way, not disruptive in a competitive way. Although we hope, as you know, remember when the first crowdfunding website came out, there was, soon, months after the first crowdfunding website came out, now we have GoFundMe, we have, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, we have all these other ones. So we hope that other organizations and companies will start leveraging this idea of a thought worker and putting some serious initiative to it, because it doesn't require overhead. And that kind of you know, circles back to what we were trying to say about you know, your point in that. What was your point again? Monetization.
Yes,
monetization. So anyway, basically, the monetization that we're doing is going to be unique in the sense that when we build an app, we're going to have a help feature. I mean, this is just common sense, but how many people actually download an app and, you know, install it and play around with it and ever learn more than 2 or 3 features of the entire app? I mean, they understand the core functionality of the app, but they never learn any of the other features. So 90% of the features remain hidden in there because they don't know how to use them, or they don't understand the value. It's not speaking its value proposition to anybody. So we put a help button in there in all of our apps, and we've got one app that we're launching the company with, that's SwiftKey Elite, but we've got 28 other apps that we're working on, and each of those apps will have a help button right in the app, front facing, so you don't have to go 7 levels deep into settings to get to help. It'll be right in the app. It'll be ergonomically correct. I mean, everything will be centered around considering the form factor of a device. And this is the Nexus 6, a fairly large phablet is what they call it. So, but this device here is large, and you can see that I can't get my hand or my finger, comfortably without risking dropping the phone more than that far. So we want to make sure that our design for all of our apps thinks about the form factor and how the natural usability of the app is. And everything we see is wrong. So we see controls at the top, and we see controls at the bottom. What we want to do is we want to incorporate what we call ergonomic usability, to whereas information's at the top, controls are at the bottom. So notifications, for example, like on Google, are up here. It should only be notifications. The only interactive ability should be down here where the user's finger is waiting to take action. So when we talk about monetization, the help feature is going to help us make money, because what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the views we get from the short help videos, and we're going to use that revenue and seed it back into the company. So we're going to, of course, it's going to be monetized, so there will be ads in our help video, but those ads, our users, partners, whatever you want to call them, have to understand that we're doing that to create more revenue so that we can create bigger opportunities for you. And so we have to find new ways to monetize. And so our monetization strategy has to incorporate a different line of thinking than what people have incorporated before. And so having that help feature is like the user's manual, except for it's just showing you only how to use that one little feature. And you're like, oh wow, this is a feature I could use. And now 90% of the unused features become used features. And then that paves the way for the value in add-ons. Because when you start using something and you know how to fully use it, you gain more confidence with it, you will start using the feature, and then that helps you to gain more affection for the app itself. Now we know that since the PC and the phone have converged into this device, we also know that the phone has been the tried and true technology for over 100 years, and no one is ever going to imagine their life without a phone. As long as we can leverage that truth and create a statement of truth whereby the PC, integrated into this phone, starts to accommodate, the usability of apps, the excitement and the level of innovation that we'll see as a result will just get better and better and better. Now, our royalty model is really no different than that of the music industry. Our royalty model pretty much is, tried and true royalty model of the music industry, except for in the context of the music industry, it's the record company and the artist that there's a royalty agreement with. And the artist does something and they earn a royalty. Okay, now that's something the artist does is they create a song or an album and they get royalties for the sale of every album. Whereas if it's an artist who's selling shoes or clothes or something, they're going to get a royalty every time their brand is put on that T-shirt or whatever. In that case, it's, Unifi-Mobile would have. We're going to do things like we're going to allow people to have, wraps on their cars, so they'll be able to advertise, their white label brand with Unifi-Mobile on their car and draw more attention to the company and what the company's doing for you. Because this is not about us getting any kind of limelight or voice. This is all about you, the customer. So the customer is the voice. The customer is the limelight. So if you can imagine for a moment being able to have all the world's intellectual property in one place, that's essentially what we're after. We're after all of the intellectual property in one place. And why? Because intellectual property in and of itself has no value until people declare it has value. It has no traction, okay? So and I'll even go as far as saying, if you think your idea has enough traction and you don't want to work with Unifi-Mobile and you want to just do your own thing, that's fine. But do you realize how difficult it is to launch a company for anything? I mean, how many different moving pieces there are. To be able to just spit out ideas like a cash machine spits out dollar bills, and have somebody else take care of all the hard work, the management, the marketing, the development, the wireframing, the beta testing, all that, it's the dream come true. Because literally all you have to do, and I will say this, everyone has a mind. This is an equalizing moment in history. Everyone has a mind. Everyone has ideas. There is no discrimination. There is no way that anybody can be put in one class or another. Everyone has the same power. So now, factor that into what we're trying to do and recognize that because everyone has a mind and everyone can criticize and everyone can have a thought, everyone can be involved. And there is no limits to what anybody can do. I don't think you can get much easier than just sharing an idea on a portal and promoting it to other websites. I mean, everybody these days knows how to share, like, dislike, comment. That's fundamental, and we've at least got 2 billion people on the planet out of the 8.9 billion that are here. So if we can make this go viral, it's not for us. You're doing it for yourself, because we've built this so that you can be somebody. And so that's what that's all about. So,
Well, the monetization strategy that you just discussed with me is definitely restructured compared to anything that is currently out there. I really am fascinated by the fact that you guys include such features such as that help feature so that way the customer can utilize the full functionality of the application or the add-on. Regarding that add-on, you had discussed with me earlier regarding your app, FlipKey. What are some of the features that FlipKey has to offer that would be user-friendly, so to say, that the other SMS apps do not offer?
So FlipKey has a lot of features, and the thing with FlipKey is that the concept of it is, to be able to have faster access to the keypads. So, when you're typing, and everybody has gotten accustomed to just doing this because that's all they've had to work with. So you're typing, and you need a symbol, or you need a question mark, or an exclamation mark, or you want to add an emoji. Usually you have to go and hit specific buttons on the keyboard or key combinations or whatever to access your choice of emoji, your ability to get symbols, and it often slows people down. Now, people are getting more efficient at typing on glass. The idea behind FlipKey is to be able to allow you to swipe, to have a gesture listener into the keyboard where you can just swipe to the symbols, hit the symbol, swipe back, and start typing. So it really doesn't matter the accuracy is unimportant. So you don't have to specifically hit a button, pause from your fast typing, hit a button, and go back. See, there you can just swipe. But the other thing that it was designed to consider was one-hand usability. Because like on most keyboards you see where it has, key 1 through 0. Well, if you swipe down by default on FlipKey, the keypad reverses. So you have everything, it's like mirrored. This not only accommodates left-hand users, but it also accommodates the ability to get the keys when you only have one hand. We know that 70% of the time, people are using smartphones, and obviously they've gotten pretty addictive to them. So you see a guy holding his girlfriend's hand, or somebody holding groceries, or something that's being held in the hand while they're trying to do this. Now, the negative about the one-hand user experience is driving while typing. We're totally not promoting that, but the idea is that the screen has gotten so large that you can't comfortably hit a key without getting into an awkward, almost not painful position, but it's just not convenient. So the idea is to create an accurate typing experience where you can just swipe and it's much easier. It just makes common sense. The sophistication of the code to build that is incredible. It's not for the, I can't even tell you how many technical difficulties we had in building it. Every single developer that we worked with when building this app was so confident going into it and came out with their tail between their legs because it was that complicated. Simply because of how the industry has chosen to build their libraries to support keyboards. Our keyboard is not just a keyboard. We want to take input to a whole new level. So we want to be able to say it's not just a keyboard. We're going to have things like roto fields where you have all the controls from your favorite apps brought down, and we'll partner with app companies in that collaborative thing that we were talking about before to bring those controls down to where their finger is comfortable on that screen. We've got all the settings right on the app. So when you scroll through the space bar, you can get all the settings to change theme, color, all that. We have a translator feature in there that's going to be phenomenal because it's going to allow you to have an app agnostic experience where it doesn't matter what SMS app you're using. You can say, I speak English. I know the other guy doesn't speak a lick of English. He speaks French, so I'm going to go into my thing, set it right there on the screen without leaving the app or the keyboard, and then I'm going to be able to type in English, and I'm going to hit send, and when I hit send on the keyboard, as opposed to the app, it's going to go to a database and it's going to convert, the language from English to French, because that's the setting I gave it, and the person's going to receive the message I sent in French. Now, when they send it back in French, because they don't know English, it's going to come in, and FlipKey is going to convert it back to English, because that's how the profile setting is within the app. So that's a pretty cool feature. Then we got smart TV capability. So we'll have either the IR blaster, which is the little infrared on some of the devices, or Bluetooth, or a dongle that will allow the keyboard to communicate with the HDMI dongle that will allow them to control their Amazon Prime experience, or their Google experience, or YouTube, or any other smart TV app experience by just using their phone. Now, we have a thing called Quick View. So Quick View is going to allow you to be able to have instant access to things like stickers, photos, previously saved text, so you get form, all that within what they call a canvas frame window. So it's going to allow you to scroll. Everything about the input experience is going to be included in FlipKey. So FlipKey is not just a keyboard. And then furthermore, because of the nature of how the keypad canvases are designed, other languages like Asian languages that are basically glyph or symbol based, will be able to leverage this capability because infinite layouts will be possible now. Styles, for example. We know that users don't like new things all the time. Like, they're so used to their iPhone keyboard being laid out a certain way that if they were to look at FlipKey, it's it just doesn't work, And so we want to make sure that Styles, which is a feature of FlipKey, accommodates that user, and that allows them to have the same look and feel as an Apple keyboard or a Samsung keyboard or a Google keyboard, and they can choose the style, and the layout is exactly what they want. So they don't have to lose anything or give up anything to use FlipKey. And then the interactive app capability says you can hit a little button on there. That's very convenient. You hit the button, and basically what it'll do is it'll allow you to have access to all the emojis that are built into the phone. So you don't give up anything in order for FlipKey to be installed. Because when we looked at the user feedback from the user ratings that are out on the app publisher sites, we found that when we analyzed it closely, we found that the things that people didn't like were trivial. I mean, it was like they didn't want to take the time to learn the new app. What they wanted is for the new app to work the way the old app does. Now, if you're going to be a company that takes direction from the customer, then you have to design according to that. So what we did is we looked at keyboards. This happens to be a keyboard. So we said, what's all the things people don't like about keyboards? And you can't solve a problem until you know the root of the problem. So that's essentially what we did. Took all the complaints for every keyboard out there and we incorporated that thinking into FlipKey. So the user should have, supreme user experience, especially if they're going to have to pay for it. Now, we do have some discussions about how we can offer a free version of FlipKey in exchange for like a subscription to YouTube or whatever, and views to help us use the monetization dollars to see expenses and operational costs for the company. We're tossing that around, but we still need to find a way that it's all about money, because in our focus of that, it really translates to what opportunity is available for you. And this is more of a flat model. There is no top of the company per se. I mean, there is in the traditional sense of the structure, but it's not in the sense where, that the whole company or all the employees are worshiping the top. We're actually worshiping one another, if you want to call it that way, but, I really don't even like to use the word worship in that context, but we're supporting one another essentially. But don't we fundamentally already do that today? I mean, are we not already working with each other, seemingly in the public in our everyday transactions? You go to Walmart, you go to another store, you buy something, they're selling something, you're already interacting. So there's already inherent a level of codependency there. All we're doing is we're saying we're going to take advantage of the fact that everybody's already working that way, and we're just going to reorganize it and present it to the world in a different way.
Well, I personally love the application FlipKey. You had sent me over the beta version, and I got to play around with it, and it is by far the best application for SMS that I have ever used.
Yeah,
There's so many features, and just how easy it is to access, like you said, those other symbols and numbers and things that you just need here and there. And just one swipe, you click, and one swipe back, and you're back to your keyboard.
Yep.
It is so easy to use, and it is definitely one of the most user-friendly applications that I've ever got.
So what do you think of the customization ability? I mean, we have different fonts in there and stuff. I mean, we have, pink colors, we have different button styles and things like that. How important is that to you as a user? I mean, that you get to customize your app experience? Because, we put a lot of thought into that. So, did you appreciate any of that? Or?
Yes. Me personally, I am the type of person that likes to customize everything on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, since you guys offer so many different styles and formats and color schemes on your keyboard, it really allowed me to make it exactly how I wanted it. I like personally a colorful keyboard with larger letters because it's easier for me to type.
Right, yeah, exactly. That was one of the things that we saw out on the reviews of other keyboards. That was definitely something that we wanted to make sure FlipKey had. So.
And I really do enjoy the toggle factor, where you can toggle up or down, or it can transition and slide down, or it can swipe to the right or swipe to the left. There are so many different features that you can utilize on this application that's just built into one app.
Right.
Every other application that I've ever used for SMS to change my keyboard or to change the coloring or the backgrounds, it just was one feature and that was all it had to provide. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really made it hard because there's other things that I wanted. I wanted the larger lettering, or I wanted it to be colorful, or I wanted it to have more emojis, and it was just one app I had to download after another. With FlipKey, it seems like you guys have incorporated everything that's on the market into one application. And I really do believe that the users and the customers that are soon to be downloading this application will admire all the hard work that you guys have put into this application.
Well, we hope that it's really hated by the world. I know that's kind of strange, but I want people to hate on it. The reason I want them to hate on it is because we really want them to improve it. We want our innovation to be driven from the minds of the customer. And I'm going to tell you what an advantage that will give us. Because, if we have customers that are, shooting ideas at us left and right all day long. And we have people on our end that are vetting those ideas. Once they achieve the 100,000 upvotes, we've got the traction we need to go to start building it and start working with them actively with them on it. And I think people will find their digital dreams come true, and they will feel this rush of excitement when something from their mind has been built and they can see it. There's a level of affection and affinity for it that you just can't really replace with anything else. And naturally people want to create. I would say that for a guy, I mean, I know that you're a girl in the sense that obviously, right? But I understand that, women feel the same way with kids. So they have a child, and bringing that child in the world is, for a woman who's had a child and can understand this, they can relate to the cool factor, the wow factor of this whole thing. It's like, wow, I created this thing, and so you just have a natural level of affection and affinity for this because it's something you made, and that's the kind of outcome that we hope to see from the public when they start seeing their ideas in a manufactured fashion, something real that's on millions of smartphones throughout the world. Outside of the money, I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, we want to make everybody make a way for everybody to have their 15 minutes of fame. Okay? So I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. And I think there's a lot more that can be said about the back end operations and what we're doing. But a lot of that really comes from the fact that if you look at a lot of companies today that manufacture products, what they're doing each and every year is they're basically building something at the onset of what they imagine the world wants, and then fast forward 3-4 years, 5 years, and they start copying what everyone else is doing. Where I think if they would consider a model like ours, they would never have to do that. Because I think that each and every company had something unique and awesome to offer, but they abandoned it. So if they abandoned their own identity and they went and they tried to copy what someone else was doing because that someone else was more successful at it, when the only reason that someone was more successful at it was because they had a stronger marketing campaign and there was a greater degree of effort put on raising awareness towards the thing as opposed to its competitor necessarily lacking a feature. So when we look at everything everybody else has done before us, it's all about just taking lessons learned from them, making sure we don't make those mistakes here, and then just doing things in a common sense way that just makes sense. I mean, we don't want to have to spend money and take risks. We don't have to. So if we have the customer telling us what they want, we build it, they'll come, right? So that's essentially what we're doing.
Well, I strongly believe that you will be very successful with launching this new app called Quick, as well as your 28 other apps that will soon to be launched after that.
Yeah.
I guess my question is for you now, considering that you are going to be completely putting a new model out there in this industry or this market, how is it that you will deal with the companies that have already been established and a customer wants to create an add-on that company does not want to change or subsidize what it is that they already have on the market?
So, are you talking about a situation where, another company doesn't want to cooperate or collaborate with Unifi-Mobile?
Yes.
Well, there's not much we can do about that. I mean, from a commercial perspective, we've got the public and private side deal. Where contracts are concerned, we have to, we would have to communicate to the customer that it's just not possible. Although we've anticipated that there might be companies in the future that would say, they don't want to work with you. But we've come up with some compelling ways to counter offer those expected situations. Because essentially, if I could tell a company, for example, that's making WhatsApp, stop making WhatsApp, and they'd be like, why do we want to do that? Well, it would be like, no, we're not gonna do that. You should just know that's a given. They're gonna say, no, we don't wanna do that, because we've got 1.2 million users, why would we do that? Okay? So, what do we do to overcome that? So we say, okay, there's one or two things that we can do. We can say, let us use the source code to build what our customers are asking for you. And you can continue to keep doing with WhatsApp what you're doing. But then this person can sell these add-ons, you know, and we can offer them a royalty split, you know, or some kind of royalty arrangement or whatever, so they're making above and beyond what they currently make with WhatsApp. Or it could be the other way around. It could be that you're going to take the features that people love the most in WhatsApp, and you're going to allow us to put them over here, and you're going to sell those add-ons of our product for the same amount of money that you currently do now, without us having anything to do with it. I know that sounds strange, but remember, this is all about traction. Now, they don't sell WhatsApp. It's free. But if you look at the market, if you look at the technical market, there's companies that have made social networks, and you know, out of the gate, it didn't seem clear how they were going to make money doing that. I mean, they weren't charging anybody to become members of Facebook or MySpace before Facebook or any of these other sites. How are they making money? Well, advertisers look at sites that have millions and millions of users as being valuable, whether or not they charge the customer a dime or not. So advertisers are saying, wow, you have the attention of 500 million users. We would love to advertise on your network and pay you money to get that 500 million audience's attention. So keep in mind that the valuation of apps and websites is quite a bit different than the valuation of a company that makes a product out of a brick and mortar organization. So the valuation for Unifi-Mobile could be literally trillions of dollars, because we're talking about owning all of the intellectual property in the world. And we're going to be owning that intellectual property because we have a contract, a private contract, to pay royalties for those ideas that have earned upvotes, which is the traction we need for investors to say, this is a great thing. This is a completely minimal risk proposition. What we're really talking about is, you know, collaborative effort that eliminates risk. And so we can overcome that in a myriad of different ways, and just through negotiation. And we feel that we'll take whatever position necessary to see to it that our model is, you know, encouraged and supported, so that others like you and everyone in your family, or just people out in the world, can continue to make money on it. So I think if you look at it like this, if we're making money and you're making money, our success becomes more sustainable, because you're not going to want us to go away. You're not going to want us to go out of business when there's a safe and good level of codependency that exists with the customer and the company to a certain degree, which is not to the degree that there will be a Unifi-Mobile, and that's what we're doing.
Well, it sounds like you have a business that will never go out of business.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
And that is ideal in this economy that we have currently. I know, like you had stated, there's so many of us that are experiencing hardships with their finances and jobs, and this application, this company that you are bringing to the world is going to make a huge difference in everyone's life. I really look forward to all of the other applications that you have that are going to be launched, and all of the other ideas that you're going to be sharing with us very soon. I do appreciate your time today, and I hope that we can get together again soon after you launch your other applications, and you can explain some more of the features and functionalities of what's to come from Unifi-Mobile.
Well, thank you. This has been a great opportunity for us to tell the world about Unifi-Mobile, and we appreciate your help in that. I know the users and the future customers of Unifi-Mobile will really appreciate it as well. I can't say enough about how sincere we are about being the change we want to see in this world. If people could feel anything about us, I would want them to feel some level of euphoria where happiness and joy are concerned, because we really do want it more for you than we do for ourselves. I myself have lived a fantastic life. I've been able to do everything I wanted. I've accomplished everything I dreamed of. This would be the last thing in my life that I would love to be able to put on that checklist and say complete. Because I feel like we all have a purpose that's greater than ourselves here. I mean, if you think about a tree, you know, a tree has branches. Those branches represent the people, but they all come down to the same stem. It's all one group. We're all one. And so if you think in terms like that, and you recognize that what we're doing is really for the benefit of others, and we want to make sure that all those different branches of the tree are tended to and taken care of. And if we work together and we continue to do what we what we've decided to do, because we have decided to do this. There's no luck in this. We will continue to keep doing this until we reach the destination that we aim to reach, and eventually the world will be taking the fruits thereof. So thanks once again for having this chat with us and going over what we're aiming to do. And I hope that the viewers who watch this video understand a lot more about what we're trying to do.